Chapter 16. Brian and Rodney entered Fred Royal's hospital room, where he sat in a wheelchair. "Your nurse said you're getting released soon," Brian said.
"I guess you're tougher than you look, because you took quite a beating,"
Rodney snickered. Fred, who had a broken arm, swollen face, and an eye socket fracture, looked at the men. "I didn't say anything to the police. Not that it would really matter if I did." "We know," Brian shrugged. "That's why you are still breathing." Brian walked over to Fred, standing behind him. His companion followed, standing in front of the man in the wheelchair.
"Yesterday, a shooter tried to take us out in the dead zone."
"We had nothing to do with that," said Fred, who did not show a reaction to hearing about the shooter. Rodney leaned toward the man, staring at him, waiting to detect a lie. He frowned at the man's poker face and stepped back.
"We just find it a little strange that someone tried to take out two of the king's people in an area Alonzo just tried to make a move on."
"We thought your boss was trying to send King Poe a message," Brian added nonchalantly. The injured man looked up at him as best he could. "If Alonzo Green ever sends you a message," he said matter-of-factly, "you won't have to second-guess if it was Alonzo or not." Rodney lunged toward Fred, but Brian grabbed him and pulled him back.
"Was this motherfucker threatening us?"
he asked, the anger evident in his voice. "I was just saying that Alonzo would not send some second-rate hitman to take you out." Fred's voice was steady. Rodney and Brian shared a look. "How do you know it was a second-rate hitman?" Brian asked, frowning. Fred smiled, the pain of it clear on his face. "It's my job to know what's going on in this city."
"Then who the fuck was the hitter?"
Rodney yelled. Fred looked over at Rodney with his good eye. Brian could tell that there was a lot more to Fred Royal than he initially let on. "All I know is his street name is Blackout," the injured man replied. Rodney nodded.
"I've heard of him."
"Pass on a message for me," Fred told them as they turned to leave. "Alonzo is coming." Chapter 17. Detective Sluggs paced back and forth across the street from a local elementary school. Every few seconds he would stop, check his watch, and sneak a peek at the school, then resume his pacing. Jordan pulled up in his BMW. Sluggs rushed over to him as he stepped out of his car.
"Why the fuck did you call me here?"
The look on Sluggs' face was one of frantic confusion.
"To find out what you learned about the person digging into our organization," Jordan said.
Sluggs scrubbed his hands through his tangled hair.
"You just asked me to look into this. I meant, why did you ask me to meet you at this location? We've only met in secluded locations before now."
"I thought it would be a change of scenery." Jordan looked around to emphasize his point. Sluggs moved closer to Jordan, threateningly.
"That's bullshit because you know my son goes to this school."
Jordan gave the detective a knowing look.
"I know you think I'm just some dumb drug-addicted cop that you can toy with."
Sluggs grabbed Jordan by his shirt collar and slammed him into Jordan's car.
"Don't even think about fucking with my kid."
Spit hit Jordan, a look of disgust spreading across his face before vanishing. Jordan gave him a sly smile. "The person who is looking into our organization is your partner, Tracy Richards. So, why don't you take your newly found balls and take her out?" Sluggs let go of Jordan and took a step back.
"You want me to kill a cop? I can't do that."
Jordan looked back at the school. "Tyler is in 2nd grade. If you want him to make it to the 3rd, then that bitch dies by tomorrow."
"How do you know she's the person investigating?"
"We had suspicions for a while about her, but we discovered some files about the king and our organization she had been keeping in a storage unit. The storage facility is owned by one of our people. Nothing in the files could incriminate us directly," Jordan said, watching him closely. "So, she needs to be dealt with before the nosy bitch stumbles on something."
"Why me?"
Sluggs demanded.
"Why not hire someone to do your dirty work for you?"
"Who better to kill a cop than another cop? I will set you up with an alibi. You were meeting with me at my office." Sluggs stopped, turned to Jordan, and thought about pulling his service weapon and killing the man there in front of his son's school. "If I don't return to my office in an hour, someone will visit your son at your soon-to-be ex-wife's house tonight," Jordan muttered as he entered his car. The man nodded at the detective one last time before speeding off. Matthew Sluggs stared at his son's school with mixed emotions, as he knew what he had to do.